Well, my friends, another star is born right here at Unity on the Bay. I just learned this morning, in fact, I'd like you to tell us, you're in some competition right now, right?
I am in an international singing competition on Telemundo on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. and hopefully you can vote for me soon, and I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we send Envy our blessing as she goes forth to meet her good. Right, Unity on the Bay? Yeah. If you can start the day without caffeine or pep pills, if you can be cheerful, ignoring aches and pains, if you resist complaining and boring people with your troubles, if you can understand when loved ones are too busy to give you their time, if you can overlook when people take things out on you when through no fault of your own something goes wrong, if you can take criticism and blame without resentment, if you can face the world without lies and deceit, if you can conquer tension without medical assistance, if you can relax without liquor, I'll just leave that at that. If you can sleep without the aid of drugs, if you can honestly say that you have no prejudice against creed, color, religion, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, or politics, then you are probably a dog. Oh, my. Well, I'll put it this way. You're either a dog or you're in the flow of life. You're in the flow of life. And you know, I don't know, having been a former dog owner, as they say, I believe dogs are very much in the flow of life. And so is the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. And we are too, it's just that we have fallen asleep to it. We're in the third week of our 7-week Adventure in Faith program based on this incredible book called In the Flow of Life by renowned Unity minister Eric Butterworth, who, although he is no longer on the planet with us, at least not in visible form, he was unquestionably one of the most impactful Unity ministers ever to grace the planet. He spoke from Avery Fisher Hall in New York City at Lincoln Center for so many years and certainly touched many, many lives. This morning we're going to be talking about being in the flow of substance. Now, Eric tells us in his book that there are two ways that we can see life, and we touched on these a couple weeks ago when Elizabeth and I opened this series together. He says, first of all, and this is probably the most general popular premise, that we come into the world as empty creatures who go forth in life to be filled. Life for us at any time is the sum total of what has happened to us, and we feel we have been able to accumulate in wisdom, experience, or things. And this premise says basically that we come in here empty and that we have to go out into the world that we perceive with our five senses to try to get our hands on things that we need in order to become fulfilled. The second premise, which is much more in alignment with the Unity way of life, is this. We come into the world as living souls of infinite potentiality to be discovered and released, for life is lived from within out. Life is lived from within out. Now, so often we fall into the victim consciousness of believing that life is something that is happening to us. It's being imposed upon us from people, circumstances, and situations that are outside of us and basically over which we have no control. The Unity Way of Life says the exact opposite is true. You're not here to get your hands on anything. You're here to recognize that which already exists within you and then awaken to the reality that the presence of God is flowing to you and through you at all times, and your only responsibility in this life is to allow the free flow of that expression, to become aware of it, because it's always happening whether you're aware of it or not. I want to share with you a story about a fellow named Artemio. Artemio was a beggar, and his identity was one of feeling that he was bereft, that he was incompetent, he was incapable, he was unworthy. And so he spent his days with a huge and rather unsightly and very heavy begging bowl. And he went throughout the streets of the town carrying this burden of a begging bowl, extending it out for both his food as well as alms to meet his needs, his supply. He saw himself as an individual who didn't really deserve to be alive. He saw himself with a dark and clouded past, a burden again that he carried wherever he went. And when he was in the face of other individuals, he always felt less than everyone else. He didn't deserve to be on this planet, or that was the mindset at least that was being projected by him everywhere he went and in everything that he did. So he moved his way through the town into shops, begging for whatever he could possibly get his hands on. And one day he happened to cross the path of a store of an antique dealer. And the fellow said, "Come over here, young man." He said, I have a question for you. He said, "I'd like to take a look at that begging bowl that you're carrying." So he took the heavy begging bowl, which actually stank because it had been used and abused for such a long period of time. And he took his fingernail and he scratched the surface of it. And he looked at Artemio and he said, "My fellow," he said, "you have no business on the streets begging for alms. You should be providing alms. For the unsightly begging bowl that you carry underneath its crusty surface is made of pure gold." Now that, my friends, is the way most of us live our lives. You come into Unity and we tell you this, that you're made of gold. It might not be the tangible gold that you're accustomed to seeing people trade back and forth, but it's gold nonetheless. It's a gold greater than any gold of this world. It's the gold, it's the goodness of spirit. And it's your essence, it's what you're made of, but we have each and every one of us allowed the opinions of other people and institutions outside of us, and our own judgments cast upon ourselves to believe that we are unworthy, that we are undeserving, that we don't deserve to walk on the face of this planet. And this morning would be a most excellent morning, my dear Unity on the Bay family, for you to wash that idea of yourself away. It is serving you no good, and it is time for you to experience your own liberation. And all it takes is a waking up a desire, and only one desire, a desire for nothing in this world of time and space, but it is a desire only to uncover, to discover, and then to express the pure gold that you are. You see, you have a treasure. Did you know that? You have a treasure. You heard it here first at Unity on the Bay. You have a treasure. Every one of us has a treasure. Now, your treasure, I'll tell you first, is not at all what you think it is. Because your treasure can't be thunk. Your treasure can't be thought. Your treasure is not something you can figure out with your mind. You see, your treasure is of spirit. And spirit always transcends the human intellect along with just about everything else you might experience. Your treasure is not money, and it's not made up of worldly goods. Now, it may express as money and worldly goods, but you've got to be clear on this. The worldly goods and the money is not the treasure. You can go out and you can obtain that. You can use the power of your mind and get your hands on all kinds of money and worldly goods and treasures out here. But they will not stay with you if your consciousness is not such that it maintains a magnetic force that holds them. You see, because cause comes before effect. Your consciousness is the cause. The effect is the worldly goods and the money and the manifestation. If you want to make money, I assure you, you can make money. In fact, Eric talks about making money. He says, spurred on by the success syndrome, many persons set their sights on making a lot of money. There are only two ways to make money. First of all, you can work in the U.S. Mint, or secondly, you can become a counterfeiter. So I don't know that it's really money that you want to make, my friends. I think what you want to make is what you already have, and that is a consciousness of abundance. You have to wake up to this. You have to realize that it's already been given to you. You see, the idea that this all-benevolent, loving God would create you in its image and its likeness, and then sentence you to walk this planet with absolutely nothing unless you could get your measly hands wrapped around it is absurd. God has created you with the treasure, but because you cannot perceive the treasure with your five senses, you have come to believe that you don't actually possess it. Your treasure will never be found out there, my friends, so stop looking. Your treasure is inside of you. You hear me? It's inside of you. So stop looking out here to be fulfilled in any way. This world will never fulfill you. What will fulfill you is that which exists within you. It was a year ago in August that I stood before you and shared some of the wisdom that I had obtained from the black Labrador 85-pound puppy that I was blessed to have in my life for 15 years. I used to call her my significant other. And she was very significant to me, and she taught me many, many things. Though she's no longer on this plane of expression, I remember when we lived in Missouri, where things are very seasonal, you know. Every spring, she would lose her beautiful thick black coat, and I would brush, and I would brush, and I would brush, and no matter how much I brushed, no matter how much fur I would pull off in the brush or the comb, there was still an infinite amount of fur remaining. And if you don't believe me, you have to talk to my cleaning lady, who used to have to suck it with the vacuum out of all the corners and crevices of my furniture and my home. I came to love that fur, and I would give anything to have it back in my life today. Then I moved to Florida, and I realized I hadn't even begun to see the infinite abundance of the universe. Because in Florida, she shed all year long. There was never a time when the fur wasn't just coming off in droves, piles, stacks, all over the house. It was infinite. Trust me, I know this. It was everywhere present. It was omnipresent. I would get to church on Sunday morning, and there would be little clumps of it all over my clothes. It was everywhere present. And I laid down with her as I did many times and put my head up against that soft, comfy little coat of hers. And I said, Spirit, tell me, where does all of this fur come from? And she spoke to me in the way she always spoke to me, which was never in words. She said, it comes from inside of me. It comes from inside of me. And you and I, we have the same thing, my friends. We have this infinite, invisible, in Spirit's case, it wasn't so invisible, but we have this infinite, invisible substance that's pouring through us all the time. We just have to wake up to it. Some people say, don't thwart the flow. Don't stop. Don't cut off the flow of the infinite abundance in your life. And I say to you this morning, no way can you cut off this flow. It's happening. You have no control over it. It behooves you then just to wake up and realize that it's there. Your treasure is an inner glory that becomes an outward manifestation. Here at Unity on the Bay, we gather Monday through Thursday. And if you're ever in the area at noon, Monday through Thursday, stop in, because we gather over in the Prosperity Room, and we have what we call a Community of Faith prayer circle. And here's the affirmation that we speak together. I have total faith in God as source. Through faith, I open myself and my spiritual community to infinite, invisible substance that manifests to bless, to heal, and to prosper. You see, this infinite, invisible substance is the answer to whatever you are seeking this morning. And it's manifesting through you. You just have to open your eyes to it. Your inner glory is an inner reservoir of infinite invisible substance. It's always flowing from within you, but you have to become aware of it. Your inner glory is not something that you can get, because it's something that you already are. So you see, this flies in the face of the earthly admonition that we have to acquire things. There's nothing to acquire, my friends. You already have it all. It's already yours. You just have to claim it. You just have to wake up to it. Now, your five senses will repeatedly report the contrary to you. They will say that you are without this, without that. They will always try to confirm that you are, in fact, like Artemio, a beggar. and that the best you can do is try to eke out some kind of meager existence and get by. That's the most you can expect. But spiritual discernment will reveal something else. It will reveal your divine birthright. And you can do this simple exercise that we're about to engage in at any time, under any circumstance. It begins by closing your eyes, and we close the eyes because we are, in a symbolic way, withdrawing our attention from materialism for just a moment. So I invite you right now to close your eyes. And here's a simple thing to make a request of you with this morning. Forget about the world. Just forget about the world. We're all obsessed with the world. And the world is an effect. It is not a cause. So just forget about the world for a moment this morning and instead remember what is inside of you. Jesus called it the kingdom. And I want you to join me right now in utilizing your God-given faculty of imagination. Imagine this kingdom. This is a kingdom not of earthly treasures. It is a kingdom of infinite, invisible substance, energy, if you will. And it's all around you, and it's moving through you, and it's expressing as you. Just imagine this field of infinite, invisible substance that is rushing toward you to express through you, and it's pouring forth, flowing from you. Now, I want you to take that quality within your imagination, and I want you to feel it. With faith and belief, feel the invisible, infinite substance of God moving through you and flowing through you. And it's touching everything in the world outside of you, and it's yours. It is your divine birthright. Feel it. Feel it. Feel the infinite, invisible substance of God, and then sustain it by giving thanks that it's there. Even though you can't see it, even though you can't touch it, you can't taste it, you can only feel it. Give thanks that it's there and that it is the essence of who you are. And then open your eyes. And I want you to commit with me that through the remainder of this day and every day that you possibly can, look for evidence of this infinite, invisible substance everywhere you go. It's there. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to create it. All you have to do is realize that it's there and start looking for it. My friends, you will always find that which you are looking for. Do you hear me? You will always find it. So what are you looking for? Are you looking for more lack and limitation and doubt and fear and foreboding experiences? You'll find them, I guarantee you. But you could be looking for unmistakable evidence of the infinite, invisible substance of God manifesting as your life. And when you begin to see it, every time you see that evidence in your life experience, there's only three things that you have to do. The first one is Thanksgiving. And you know, as hard as this is for me to believe, it'll be Thanksgiving in the twinkling of an eye. It is my favorite holiday because you may never have thought about this before, but Thanksgiving is truly an interfaith celebration. You can celebrate Thanksgiving if you're a Jew. You can celebrate Thanksgiving if you're a Buddhist. You can celebrate Thanksgiving if you're a Christian because it transcends all religious barriers. Thanksgiving is something that we can all experience at any moment. And that Thanksgiving will ultimately begin to well up inside of you. You need to become aware of this experience. I call it the gratitude generator. As you start giving thanks, and remember that anytime you give thanks for anything, you will reveal the nature of God within it. You have somebody that's been speaking badly about you, you say thank you, God, to them. You say thank you. Somebody that's your adversary, you say thank you. Yeah, right, I'm really going to do that. The whole world will think I've absolutely lost it. Because you're running around saying thank you in the middle of all of this adversity. That's right, because the words thank you have power and they cut through the illusion of adversity and they will show you the opportunity. They will show you the golden opportunity that's in everything for you. And as that gratitude generator starts revving up inside of you, it becomes stronger and stronger. You become, through your gratitude, a magnet for greater good. And ultimately, you get to the place where you have so much gratitude just bubbling up inside of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, that you have to do something. You have to express it, and that is called praise. That's called praise. When the gratitude actually gets to the point where it starts spilling out and you're expressing it, you're praising it. We praise it here through great music. We praise it here through the spoken word. We praise it here through meditation and silence. Become a perpetual praiser no matter what you're looking on in the screen of your existence. Eric Butterworth says, life asks only that you flow with it, that you don't resist its inexorable bubbling forth, and that you do not crawl into dark corners of insufficiency and direct barriers. You can do it. You can crawl into a corner, and you can act as though the invisible, infinite substance of God is not real for you. You're not closing yourself off to it. It's still there, but you can't see it because you've hidden away in a dark corner of your own consciousness that has walls that are built of fear and doubt and shame and guilt. And all you have to do is close your eyes to that experience and ask the activity of God as the Holy Spirit within you to open you up to awareness. And you'll see that flow has never left you. God has never left you. And your divine identity has never left you. I am in the flow of life. Infinite, invisible substance flows from within me into expression as my world, and I am abundantly blessed. Do you believe that this morning? Can you put your feeling nature behind it and affirm it with me? There is power in your spoken words. Let's do it. I am in the flow of life. Infinite, invisible substance flows from within me into expression as my world, and I am abundantly blessed. My friends, this is not something that is going to happen to you tomorrow. It's not something that happened to you yesterday. It's not exclusive to one religious group or another. It is your divine birthright, and I expect you, and I believe that you will, claim it for yourself this morning and start living in the freedom that it provides. God bless you.